Good nearly afternoon. I am doing just totally impromptu video down here in what we have always called the hobby room. I know a lot of my original Secondhand Sunday videos I would film down here in the hobby room, and it looked way different. Had like crafty stuff all over the walls. The walls were white. I had like my threads hanging on the walls and all sorts of trinkets and stuff, just stuff. And it's funny how when you have like an extra room, it's not a bedroom or it's not a living space, if you decide that you like don't want a mirror anymore in your lounge room, I find that people ditch stuff in that like other room. So it could be like a basement or like this room. And it's funny because I look back on old videos and I'm like, almost all that stuff's gone. I've either sold it or decluttered it, and it's amazing. Like, hey, I love thrifting. So even though I'm much more focused on like simple living and just enjoying our wonderful one English Catherine, our one life, I still love thrifting, and I love like finding little things. Like I found this olive dish that I used to keep my AirPods and a memory stick and an extra SD card, and I have that sitting. I left the price tag on this. That's illegal. So I just have it sitting on my desk here. I just like to keep it simple. But I also see ways in how I'm still a little bit of a pack-ratty type of person. So I got this small container from the reject shop. In it, I would put receipts if I needed to keep them for gift holds. This was like notes for a video that I did. And that's why I find a spare piece of paper. I find that if I put it sort of in a container, it's contained in the container, and it doesn't just look like clutter. I use this notebook all the time, especially if I'm doing chapters in my videos. But you might recall this from a previous thrift haul. I had been looking for a container to have our laundry detergent on so I could slide it out and it would kind of hold drips and stuff. It wasn't quite perfect. And I think I should have realized that at the time, but I didn't. And instead of just saying, you spent $2 you probably shouldn't have spent and get rid of it, I put it underneath this. So that now can become my little tray for my declutter pile. And the whole reason why I started recording down here is this. I have not sewn in a really long time, to the point where I said to my husband, I think I'm going to completely quit sewing. I'm going to sell my Juki. I'm going to give away and get rid of all of my fabric. I'm just done. Because we had bought this table off of Marketplace and the chairs from Officeworks and the lights from Amazon, and we did a couple of podcasts and then we didn't do any more. And I spoke to Ben the other day and he said, no, book it in. Like, I want to keep doing the podcast. But in the meantime, I thought if I move things around a bit, it might actually become a little bit more inviting to sew. It's the conflict between wanting to be minimal, simple living, and have no clutter, and being creative. It's very hard. I've made quilts and I've just given them away because I feel like the pressure of trying to price them and where to sell them and what to do is too much, so I just give them away. You can probably tell from my face and my tone and everything, I'm still demotivated. I'm still like, why bother? What's the point? Let's see what we can do to improve things and maybe get back into sewing and at least finish the quilts that I've got quilt tops for that I've never actually quilted and bound and finished. we can do this. So I'll move you to a better location so you can see more, and we'll just shift stuff around and see how we feel about it. I'm sitting here at the sewing machine. TV. Bang. Right in front of my face. Let's spin you around slowly. Slowly, don't want to give motion sickness. This is the front of the house pointing towards the street. This is the back wall behind me. So we could move the television there and then be on the other side. I will tell you now, if you know me in real life or you've gotten a sense of who I am through my YouTube videos, this I do not like. This is looking towards, oh, by the way, guys, those are my gluten-free charts. I never finished filling out, but it's been 120 days maybe. So I'm still going strong with the no gluten thing, and I just need to take them down. That is where Ben does his sim racing. And now these lights and chairs and... You can totally tell how good lighting on your face when you're recording makes such a difference, because when you're in bad lighting, you look like a haggard beast who lives in a cave. So even though I'm under the house, I'm not in a cave, and I hope I'm not a haggard beast. We'll give this a go. Ben said he would build me a custom-made sewing bench table all-in-one storage thing, and I just need to work out what I want. And traditionally, as a not very good decision maker, I'm struggling with this. Try to be a visionary with me. So picture a sewing unit that goes across here and then across here in an L shape. And then within it, I'd have a tall enough area to have the batting. And all the fabric that's in here can fit in the unit. And there'd be little drawers or units where I can just pull out, and I can fit my fat quarters in them and just pull out and sew. Because at the moment, everything's so rummagey. Like, this is my container, which I thrifted, of course. I've got like sewing machine feet and stuff, and my little thrifted container of sewing machine needles and the fabrics, and it's just, it just feels so much like I'm shuffling everything just to get to it, just to be crafty. I'd rather just come down here and boom, create magic. So I've now pushed this against the wall, and I have pretty much another whole table plus a half of space. So that gives me more space there. I could pile up things here. This is all transition. We're in the midst of trying to make it better. At a minimum, I could declutter the things that I'm 300% I'm never going to use. I feel like I'm now like one of those puppet things. So you're propped on the gray box. I want to encourage you guys. Like, I truly, hand on heart, believe hobbies are very important. And I don't think there's any rules over what kind of hobby you have. Personally, I very much feel strongly that Facebook should not be a hobby. That's just my personal opinion. And maybe that's clouded by the fact that I have an incredible memory. So if I was going through my feed and I saw that a person got a new dog, my smart brain would remember the name of the dog, the breed of the dog, and the details of the dog. And then the next person showing their holiday, and I would remember where they went and what they saw. And the next person has a new baby or a new job or is whinging about something or is talking about something political. My brain would just log in all of that information, and it became a blurry mess. And that's not like true reality. Yes, the other person's showing you the things, but it's really none of your business. It really isn't. I know talking about Facebook can be a contentious issue, and maybe in the future I'll do a whole video where I just hash it all out with you guys. But having hobbies, I think, is really important and very beneficial for good mental health. So let's talk about some hobbies. Gardening, walking or fitness exercise, painting, sewing. Sewing's a really big topic because you could do millions of things. You could sew homewares, clothing. You could sew things even that you sell. So it's like, that's good. You make some money from something that you love doing. Making quilts. There's knitting, crocheting, needlework. And you can multitask. Like, I can sew a quilt and watch a murder show at the same time. So this is like win-win. But hobbies are very important. And sometimes we may sort of demote it because we're like, no, I should clean, organize, sort out my life. Or do that as well. Have a schedule. Have a time. Sunday's our day of rest where I can do whatever I want. And I wanted to film this and chat with you guys. So that's what I did. I didn't clean anything before. I'm just looking at the dust on the TV. I didn't clean anything before I came down here. Sometimes it isn't about just ditching your hobby. Yes, if it's totally fantasy self, confront that demon. But I sewed for a really, really long time, and I saved up for my machine for a super long time, and I love the machine, and I look at the fabrics and I feel happy, but I don't sew, like, at all. So, S-O and S-E-W. I think now, if I have my tub of fabric here so I can just open it, I'm not crawling under a table or moving tools off the top of the box, that will be better. And if you're interested in seeing any of my sewing adventures, you can comment below to let me know. If you enjoy this type of video where I'm just having a chat with you and showing you parts of my house and life, non-tech person, the best thing you can do is just click like on the video, because that is what actually feeds that sidebar when you go onto YouTube and you've got all these like, why are they recommending that? That's because YouTube is pushing that out to other people because people have interacted. So they've commented or they liked, and YouTube doesn't even care if it's like or dislike. It just recognizes interaction. Yeah, I'm glad we had that chat. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll move things around a little bit. The future plan is get another podcast episode done. So keep doing YouTube because I love it. It's like my little passion hobby that I'm doing. And ta-da!